Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, is the mind the same as the brain, or do we have souls? The thing is that many times people think that a lot of it comes from the soul, that our personality, that the way that we think, if we're happy, we're sad, it comes from the soul. But there's a lot more things to it, and I think that science kind of tells it all. For example, the first thing that you need to take into consideration is if, for example, you have a good diet or a bad diet. If you have a bad diet, well, sometimes it's very difficult to have the right nutrients for your brain to function properly. So the thing is that's kind of funny when you think about it that way, is that if it were just down to the soul, well then no matter what we would be nourishing, no matter what we'd be giving to it, well, it would basically have the same personality, the same kind of wants and desires and things that tick them off and things that don't tick us off. But I think that that's why we can say that, yeah, there's a soul, I guess, because we have had a sort of education that has given us a certain way of thinking, education that has made us into who we are at this point in time. But at the same time, if it wasn't just linked also to biology and to the functioning, then there wouldn't be drugs that could alter the way that we think. And I'm not just talking about heavy drugs, but I'm talking about things such as, for example, if you take, well, a painkiller or something for a headache, well, you're basically going to be in a bad mood because your head is feeling bad, and then you take the drug. It's not a real drug, it's just something to help and ease your brain. Well, it alters the functioning of that part of your brain, and then you have better blood flow or whatever it is that it does, and you're starting to feel better. So that's why I'm saying that it's difficult to think about soul as such, because also education, the part of the a lot of where you were born, what happened to you, the traumas, the situations, the language you speak, and all these things definitely have a lot of impact on the way that we think. So if the soul was old, if the soul went into reincarnation and all these things that people believe in, well, would it really be altered by these things? So do we mean that soul is the kindness that we have, or is it inherent that maybe it's a trait that we have biologically because that's what actually made us survive as a human being from generation to generation? And if we were to be bad to each other, bad to the people next to us, we would not have a good life. It's very strange when you think of things this way, because it sounds very bleak. But at the same time, what would you define as the soul if it's linked to the functionality of the brain? If you had a surgery and you, for example, took a part of the brain away, well then whatever part of that brain that's been taken away wouldn't function. It could be memory, could be short-term, long-term memory, could be even if being able to speak, and a lot of things. So if the soul was the soul, it wouldn't matter that a part of the brain would be taken out, because the soul would still be there, since it's this thing that's ethereal, that doesn't really have a physicalness to it in the way that it's described in books, at least. But if you could touch the soul, because they say you can't touch the soul, well then obviously it wouldn't make any difference if you cut a part of the brain or not, because then the soul would still be there. So the brain is the brain, and there's things that we've learned, that things that are inherent, but I think that a lot of it is due to evolution. A lot of it is due to things that have made us live better amongst each other, and that have allowed us to survive. And we also associate different things within the brain to pleasure, to happiness, to sadness, and we want to be in a state of calm and a state of happiness. So by doing so, you need to be good. To be good to the people around you, and you want to not be around chaos and all these crazy things. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't really know if it answered the fact if the brain and the soul are different or if they're the same thing. But I think that scientifically speaking, really, the brain is the soul, and it's not a mystical thing, because if we cut part of our brain off, well, things are just not there. And if the chemicals in the brain are not functioning, well, at the same time, we're not able to function as human beings. So yeah, I think the soul is actually the brain, and it's just an old way of thinking of the brain when people didn't really understand that we had something inside our body. But that's just me. So that's it. That's all to say on the subject. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.